Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Do we have echo? I need to know now if we have echo. We do. Sick intro, dude. What's happening? What's up, OG? Thanks for popping in, buddy. Can't tell you how excited I am that the shirt, sweater thing. Don't mock you. You're a founder. I promise you, bro. I ain't gonna mock you. I ain't gonna mock you. I'm gonna rock your world. What's happening, Jmode? I love saying Jmode with a good French accent. Like all good Canadians. OG, dude, did you ever get those stickers I sent you? Morning, Jmode. OG. Stickers, possibly, maybe. Did you, huh? Did you? Cool beans. Were they decent? Was the little risk immersed dude? Was he like immersed in risk? Yeah, no problem, man. No problemo. Happy to have done it. Now, I did notice last stream, I went back and I watched the VOD, as I do, because, you should watch the VODs, because the VODs are actually pretty good. They're good to go back. Because you know what I did is I went back and I always read the chat. Reread the chat. Because inevitably there's something that I missed. Always. Because I get so caught up in what I'm thinking and what I'm doing that inevitably I miss somebody and the beautiful words they say or the question they have or the hurt that they're sharing. Pardon me, I'm going to apply a little chapstick. Perfect. My lips are chapped. Yeah, so I went back and watched the VOD, and I noticed the sound was like uber quiet for like the first half of the video, and nobody said nothing. Y'all talk about the silly echo that I had because I always put desktop audio on while I'm sitting here waiting to start the stream because I'm doing my thing. And I must not have turned the sound up all the way. And then at some point in the stinking stream, I obviously turned the sound up to a point where it was audible. I don't know how anybody was listening to that. You guys missed like the first half of the stream last week. Horrible. Horrible, I tells you. It's hard to find good help, All you want is someone to say, hey, Risk, Neil, Mr. You, guy on the blue screen. Horrible, I know. Your sound is crap. Turn it up. But no. Nobody said nothing. Whoop, my mic. It's alive. It took off on me. Did you see that? It was horrible. It tried to attack me. I'll do an OG Pickle stream. I'm Mike Face. See, I remember these things, OG. I never forget, my friend. Never forget. Today's going to be, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting stream. I have the informations and I don't have the informations, It's one of those things. I think today I'm kind of banking on you guys. Well, I'm not banking on you guys. I mean, I got, I always got something to say. But it's going to be kind of a deep topic today. How does true love behave? Now you ask yourself, Neil, Mr. Risk Immersed, how in the world does, quote unquote, how does true love behave? Howdy, sir. Hey, what's up, Alan? How was Andy today? Appreciate you popping in, buddy. So you ask, how does true love behave correspond with the topic of fear and the fear of change? Well, sir, And young ma'am, let me tell you, it corresponds in many ways. In particular, I'm going to draw a bridge between the person that you love, especially those people that we love who are in the midst of change or who need to change, because God knows we all need somebody around us when we're in the midst of that, or we all know somebody who is in the midst of change or should be in the midst of change. This guy, always. And I'm telling you, and I talked about it last week, this idea of one of the things that you've got to do. Hey, what's up, Evan? How are you, good sir or ma'am? Part of the gift of change is this idea of you've got to get people around you that will help you do it. You got to have an army. And it just might be that somebody in that army actually might give a rat's behind about who you are and what you are going to become. They may actually love you. Scary thought. But a very relevant thought, and a thought nonetheless that needs to be talked about. So, I'm pulling from a couple of different sources. One source here. Source 2 is a book called The Jonathan Effect, if you haven't read it. It's, I would say, both secular and Christian at the same time. It's very relevant to the work that we do here at Rise Above, in the sense that it is helping kids in schools win the battle against poverty is the premise of this book. It's actually, I know the author pretty well. I've actually sat and had lunch with him and chatted on several occasions about kind of the work that we do here at Rise Above and the work that we do with risk immersed and at-risk kids from our community. And yeah, it's got a lot of good tidbits. Just going to say. If you don't have it and should want to get it, Amazon has the book. The book is on Amazon. The Jonathan Effect by Mike Tenbush. The other book I'm going to pull from is very much a religious text. It's a book called The Jesus Parables by Doug Newton. But I'm using it not the way it's intended for the purpose of this stream, because obviously the faith that I ascribe to is very much love-based, so I'm going to, pull from it and apply it to the theme of how does true love behave. So I guess the question that we should start with is, as we typically do in one of our streams, is this idea of what is true love? Now, it's okay if you want to, I give permission, to pull from The Princess Bride, because it's very relevant. And I'm going to do it as we speak. I'm going to see if The Princess Bride, True Love. Oh, here it is. Miracle Max. So we're going to pull up Miracle Max here. We're going to skip this ad. And we're going to play Miracle Max. Dual screen. Good old Miracle Max. I'm going to turn Miracle Max up. We're going to turn on desktop audio. We're going to shut off my mic for a second. And we're going to play Miracle Max. Everybody enjoy. Well, there you have it. Whoa. Turn all the sounds down. Woo. That was loud and obnoxious at the same time. It has Andre the Giant too. Yes, it does. There's all kinds of good things in it. Clearly, Andy has never seen it. It is. Could you guys hear it? You guys heard the sound of the clip? I hope. It's a classic movie. Definitely a classic movie. And yes, you definitely got to watch it. So, yeah, thanks. So the one thing you've got to remember, yes, Princess Bride is a classic movie and should never be remade. There's a whole thing on right now because they want to remake Princess Bride, and they're saying you can't. You're going to ruin it. You can't remake this movie. It is literally a classic, right? So, after watching that, what is true love? As you sit there now watching this amazing stream, what is true love? Jamode, what is true love? Because it's not an easy answer. I don't think it's an easy answer. I mean, there's a solution that we can arrive at for sure. I think we'd all cry, Evan. Faux show. It is a tough answer because true love can take many forms, right? So some would say, I love my country. Some would say, I love my dog. Some would say, in the trenches, brother, I love you and I'm with you to the end, right? Husband and wife, till death do you part. True love. So all of those things, I would say, have something or some things in common. What something or some things would you say that those types of love have in common in things that would differentiate true love from, I love the outdoors, or, I love my car, as Andy was talking about, my red Ferrari, right? Because it's not as simple as just saying I love something. Typically, true love invokes some form, I would say, first and foremost, some form of a response. That's easy enough. I love the response that I get from my dog when I come in the house and the dog jumps up and greets me. I think it's a little bit different than when I get home and my wife comes and gives me a hug and a kiss. Or when my kids come running down the stairs, screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." I think there's a difference. Do you? True love is defined by emotion. I would say that's probably the next thing that you would take into consideration. Does it invoke wow, this is cool type of emotion? Or does it involve something stronger, something more moving? In the sense that it causes us to do things we otherwise might not be able to or willing to do. Take the trench buddies, right? You're at war, you're in the trench with a guy, and the enemies are closing in. You may be willing to do something to save your friend's life that goes above and beyond what you would do normally, or even be willing or able to do normally. Yes, no? Or an intruder comes in your home, right? And normally you're not the fight 'em rough and tumble kind of person. But yet when the bad guys in your house and the bad guys between you and your kids, you'd be surprised what you're capable of in those moments. What is true love? I don't know that I have a specific definition to offer you today, but I want you to think about it. In the context of the topic, I think what I'm going to focus on today is our response. What do we do in the essence, in the moment of, in the reality of true love? How do we behave? But I'm also, primarily I'm going to talk about it in the context of when we are around others who are hurting or who are in need. So that piggybacks on the change, the fear of change, a topic from last week. Particularly, again, I'm gonna root it in Rise Above and the work that we do here with the kids, because a lot of these kids come to us very much averse to change, that they don't want to move from where they are. It's comfortable, right? So it takes a strong person to move that object for them, to get it started rolling. So, but in order to do that, so let's back it up one step. So who here has volunteered in the past before? Raise your hand. No problem, Inspector Gadget. Thanks for tuning in, bud. Right? So when I say to you, who has volunteered? Who's volunteered? Could be at your school, could be at, the mission center downtown, the interfaith shelter serving breakfast to people or lunch or something like that. Or maybe it could be doing church stuff. Maybe it's, at the local YMCA, you're down there doing your thing, playing basketball with the kids. Or maybe you volunteer at the school, mentoring fatherless kids or those kids who have less. I'd say the bulk of us probably have at some point in our lives given of our time pretty freely. Some might even have given of our resources, right? So it could be monetarily. I've given things away. It could be recently we gave away some computers, from Rise Above to help another organization out. There's tons of ways that we can volunteer in one way or another. So does volunteerism count as true love? Or does that just constitute care? Is that something where I look at yeah, very much so. Yeah, no problem, Evan. While you guys type that, I'm going to look up one more clip. It's an undercover boss clip. Let's see if I can find it real quick. And it was really good. It might be a bit longer of a clip, but it's a relevant clip to me. Where is it? I hope I can find it again. Here it is. Undercover boss. So I found it. So there's an Undercover Boss episode where this is a guy that owns a sporting goods store. You don't think it's love in all cases? I would agree. I think it's genuine concern that, that I care about who you are. I want the best for you type of a thing. I'm not sure how well this... Oh, it's not going to come up. It's not the full clip I'm looking for. Oh, there it is there. So it's basically, I'm going to see if I can find, I'm going to keep looking for it, but I'll describe it in the meantime. So basically what it is it's a clip of a boss from Modell's Sporting Goods. And in the Undercover Boss episode, which they all do, right? He realizes one of his employees is homeless. That her and her kids are living in a shelter. And in the process of interviewing, talking with his employee, he realizes that she is really struggling. And you can tell on his face there, I think even in the undercover portion of it, he's visibly upset, like he's crying at the thought that this woman and her child are homeless. So I think in this case, as I watched the clip, welcome back, Evan. In that clip, I realized that it went from him caring to him having genuine love and concern for his fellow person. I was going to say fellow man, but obviously it's a woman and her kids. And so it invoked a response. In his particular case, the response was in the unveiling when he brought all of the people back and they do that big unveiling thing and they sit and they talk, hey, I'm the boss, it was undercover, all that kind of stuff. In that particular case, he ends up giving her a significant amount of money. I think it was $250,000, $250,000 to buy a home for her and her kids. And he says something in particular that struck me. He said, the moment you told me about how you and your kids were homeless, I couldn't stop thinking about you. I couldn't stop thinking about how you were living in that homeless shelter. And to me, that shifts now care to true love. So there's a fundamental jump that takes place from, I feel compelled to go and help somebody, so I'm going to go serve turkeys on Thanksgiving. And then after the turkeys all gone and the people are all fed and we all sing Kumbaya, I go home to my family. I turn the heat up 2 degrees because it's minus 20 outside, and I sit by the fire and I have my hot cocoa. And I turn on football, right? To this guy who goes to the homeless shelter, serves a turkey, then realizes, holy crap, these people are homeless. He realizes the reality of their reality. So he enters into who they are. And herein lies the difference between caring and true love. In true love, you're willing to enter into another's. Right? You're willing to, that old adage, walk a mile in their shoes. You can't, your being joins theirs. To where in this particular case, he couldn't stop thinking about them and their circumstance. And it demanded that he do something. Now listen, this is the important part. This gets to the fear of change now. This is the link, and I want you to follow me because this is important. When you care about people, you're hungry? Here, have a sandwich. You need $5? Okay, here's $5. You need a place to sleep for tonight? Yep. Come sleep in the couch in my basement. No problem. The difference that true love makes is it asks the question, why? So in this particular case, the Modell's CEO, I forget his name. Mitchell Modell. He asks the question, what can I do to ensure that her homelessness is resolved? Not just that I ease the pain momentarily, but that I actually help her to resolve it. Notice that I don't say that I do it and I take it away, So he does. He does both. He goes one step and says, I'm going to give you $250,000, $250,000 to go build a house for you and your kid, because that's what it costs in that city to build a home. So he gives her the money to build a house. But he doesn't say, and here's, $100,000 to live off of. He then says, the reason why I believe you're homeless is because you have not been given the opportunity to earn a living wage. So I'm going to give you a promotion. He makes her an assistant manager of the store and gives her, I want to say it was $20,000, $25,000 a year raise. So he discovers the root cause. He fixes the immediate need, and then he asks why. Why are we here? Realizes it has to do something with how he pays his employees, and in particular this particular employee who is homeless. And so then resolves it by helping her, by giving her another job. True love seeks not only to assist the moment, but to be involved throughout. You following me? So here's a quote for you. Stick with me. to deal with the facts that real life often presents us with rescue challenges that one person can't handle alone. In other words, love faces the prospect of ineffectiveness and refuses to stop until it develops strategies to solve bigger problems. So back up. What did I just say? There's this idea of experimental variations. I'm not going to explain that today. Bear with me as I give you the kind of Coles notes. It's another way of saying thinking outside the box. I'm not satisfied with the normal. Rise above exists because we did not do the normal. Out of true love, the desire we had was to change not only the moment, but the circumstance and the opportunity. This is why when you are needing to go through change, you don't go it alone. You surround yourself with your army. Remember last week? In this same vein, we need to deal with the fact that oftentimes the norm is ineffective. If the norm is, I just go to the food pantry, I grab my soup stuff and I stay the night and then I go hang on the street again until the next night, until they allow me to back in, because they kick me out every day at 10 o'clock and then I'm not allowed back in until 7 p.m. that night. Often that is that's a hard cycle to break on your own. And I know because we work with these kids every day. But when true love interferes, now, and you notice, I want you to notice that I'm taking it out of the family, in the sense that I'm not talking about the true love that we have for our wife and kids, because that's obvious. If I only presented to you the facts of, dad's at home, burglar breaks in, of course dad's going to defend his kids. Of course mom's going to defend their kids. That's something we can all easily agree on. The hard part of true love is realizing that we are inefficient, inadequate when it comes to our fellow man and woman. That we are doing a lackluster job when it comes to having true love for our fellow man. Because true love will bring about true change. Right? True love puts us in a spot where we are willing to present rescue efforts that have not previously been tried. And I don't mean rescue in the sense that I'm going to throw you a lifeline and then pull you out of your ship once it has sunk. I mean rescue challenges, actually jumping into the boat that is sinking with them and helping to bail. That's true love. That's going the one step further, getting into experimental variations and developing new strategies that solve the true bigger problem of things like homelessness, suicide, expulsion rates, right? The crazy thing is, Andy, with the whole win the lottery thing, I have a huge donor of mine that we joke about that all the time. Oh, if I just won the lottery, See, oftentimes, and I'm not saying that that's not a great thing. That would be awesome. I would love to win the jackpot here, the whatever $1 billion jackpot that U.S. has every other week. Because you think, how effective would I be? I'm sure you have. Because you think, if I just had $1 billion, how effective could I be? I would do all these great things. I wouldn't own 17 Ferraris like that other guy would. But there's a reality to that. We're naturally a selfish people. And we think, if I won $1 billion, I'd only keep 25 million. Right? Do we really need 25 million? No. Anyways, the story is, what I'm saying is, if nothing else, is that money is great. But the reality is, in Rise Above, and I can say this with purity because Rise Above is living proof of it. Money does not fix the problem. The problem is social, not economic. Any economic pain that people are feeling is the result of some social dysfunction. Hear me. Money fixes nothing. If you have somebody that racks up tons of credit card debt, if you have somebody that can't hold a job, if you have somebody that is impoverished, and I grew up dirt poor, and I don't use that term loosely, dirt poor. Giving me money was not going to solve the problem. The problem was I didn't know how to manage money. The problem was my mom couldn't hold a job. The problem was my dad didn't pay his child support. There was a different problem than just no money. That's why Rise Above takes the approach that we do. So when we take a kid who brought a gun to school, if we take that analogy of the money, the cure would be to ensure that this kid has no access to guns or take the gun away. Well, no, that's not the problem. The problem is not the gun. Well, you just take away the drugs. As long as it's got no drugs. Well, no, the drugs isn't the problem. It's one of the elements that's causing a bigger problem. But when you back it up, as I say very often, you get to the root cause, which is always social. It always has to do with a broken relationship somewhere. Somebody that did not do emotionally what they should have done in the first place. Can always gift subs and invest in the pickle. Smart play. You're like a bank. I like it. It's a good play. Money doesn't make everybody happy, but everyone has seen a grumpy person on a jet ski. Well, yeah, true enough. I've only been on a jet ski like twice in my life. Is that bad? Short answer is no. It's not bad. Because I've done a lot of other crazy crap. I'm not saying money's bad. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying to you. Money is not the root of all evil. Right? I'm not saying that. What I'm talking about is, how does true love behave? What I'm talking about is, when somebody is in this situation, how do you resolve it? And the short answer is, not by giving them money. Yeah, type for sure. We'll Discord that bad boy. What's up, Soggy? Thanks for popping in, buddy. Yeah, it's one of those things, I think oftentimes people will confuse the mode, i.e. pay off the debt, i.e. buy them a turkey sandwich, i.e. whatever the thing is, they confuse that mode for something that it's not. Right? So the money's not the answer. It's part of the answer. It may be a part of the result of the answer, but it's not necessarily the answer. All right. So, next part of this. One of the things that this was a kind of a part of the conversation from last week that we didn't get to. I kind of missed it. I kind of went over it a little bit, but I didn't linger. So let's get back to the whole. We'll stick with the like food pantry thing, where you volunteer, you go there on Saturday once a quarter, and you hand out canned goods to people. If you've done that, usually when you're done, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. You're like, yeah, good for me. I did a good thing today. I'm pretty proud of me. You know, I can go home now and I can feel good that I've given back to my fellow brothers and sisters. And I'll tell you, I'm going to, Inspector Gadget, it's funny you say that because I'm going to tell you a story from Toronto. But when you go and you do the food bank thing, or when you go and you, what's up, Mrs. H? Thanks for popping in, talking about true love. And when you go and you donate your time and you do those things, you get that warm, fuzzy feeling and you feel all good about yourself. Yay, I did that thing and I helped that person. They have something to eat or a coat to wear now. That's easy. I fall short of calling it lazy, but it's easy. This is what surprises people so much about Rise Above. Is nothing about what we do is easy. Because the easy thing to do would be just to run school. Have the kids come in Monday to Friday, work on math and science, and send them home. And if they misbehave, punish them and kick them out like everybody else does. Because that's easy. The crazy thing is that anything that is worthy or valuable, i.e. love, true love, is not easy. Prevention efforts are usually not as sexy as the canned food drives. They're usually not as sexy as giving somebody a warm coat in November. So, Pickle, you talk about efficiency. Agree 1,000%. Every situation is different. And the fundamental difference, and I touched on this last week, is time and energy. If you again, talking about true love, that's the topic. If you truly love something, you invest. Your late butt is confused because you're late. That's what we're talking about, though, is the efficiency. You've got to be invested. If you are not in full time, think about it. When you first fell in love with whoever you're in love with, you can't spend enough time with that person. But that's my point, OG. If you're on the street randomly, and I'm not saying not to have random gifts of kindness. I'm not saying on that person on the street to stop and not buy them a sandwich or give them $5 or whatever the thing is that you feel compelled to do. That's not, again, the topic is what is true love and how does it behave? Hey, Morgan, what's up? If you get to a point, hey, Self's here too. All the good peoples are here. Well, for the most part. If you get to a point where you've decided that I want to do something different, that is time and energy. And OG, that is exactly what we were talking about last week with regards to this idea of the fear of change. True love generally looks like time and space. So here's my Toronto story and my homeless. Because Toronto has a homeless population that is homeless by name only. there are a ton of, I won't call them con artists, but people that do it full time. They beg full time. That's their job. They actually did a whole thing in Toronto on the news. They did like an expose, investigative reporting type thing where they followed a bunch of these people, most of them back to like very high end Toronto apartments. And one guy was actually driving a Mercedes and would travel between Montreal and Toronto to do his begging. He actually used a wheelchair. Anyways, here's my story. One of these guys, one day, I passed him every day. I'd get off the train, I'd walk to work, and every day I passed him. And every day is the same spot. And so one day I thought, you know what? I'm gonna give this guy, intentionally, I'm gonna give this guy a week's worth of food. I gave him a week's worth of food. He threw it at me. I don't want your stinking food. I won't use the words he used, but he basically said, I don't want your food. I want your money. I never gave to one of those guys again. It was ineffective. Right? But how does true love behave? Mrs. H, I got to read. I'm clearly broken by me and my partner. Yeah. But the thing is, okay. So one of the things I would say is that so when I said it's not sexy, so going and donating in that, giving your time, that's the sexy stuff. That's where you feel good. That's where, you're with 9 other people that are doing the same thing and you're all like, yay, look at us. We're giving back to the community. And again, that is needed 100%. Every day, all day at Rise Above, I need volunteers. I need people that can show up, give me an hour of their time, and just hang with my kids. There is great value in all of that. But what I say to all of the people that come in who have grandiose ideas that they are going to, in some way, dramatically affect a student's life, is the only way you're going to do that is if you're intentional. If when you come in, you spend intentional quality time having real, personal conversations with these kids. In effect, demonstrate true love to them. Selfless, with no agenda. You want to affect change? You want to ensure that kid's not going to recidivize, that student is not going to get in trouble at school again, and that student is not going to be back in the legal system? Right? They have to get to a point where they feel supported and loved. That idea of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So I can cure your hunger. I can feed you. But you're going to be back every day for more food, more food, more food. There's a place for that. There are people that need that for whatever the reason is. Not saying it's wrong. But every effort should be made on our part. If we genuinely care and genuinely have true love, every effort should be made to prevent them coming back every day. And that doesn't mean taking away their bus tickets so they can't get to the food pantry. That means figuring out, how do we make them self-sufficient? Because that doesn't just fill their belly. It fills their pride. I can't tell you how many of our kids are embarrassed at the fact that they can't read. That they're embarrassed at the fact that their father's an alcoholic. No problem, Evan. That they're embarrassed at the fact that they're homeless and they're transit and they're going from place to place to place. They're living in hotels and going to a food pantry kills people. It devastates them, like their heart. True love makes it so that that person, it doesn't just have a full stomach. They go one step further and they give them their dignity back. Back up to the fear of change. Your job as the soldiers who are recruited by the person who is going through the change is to encourage them. Morgme, when you graduate, you got to call me. Either you're going to come work for me here or I'm going to plan to rise above out there, one of the two. Wherever that place is. I didn't think we'd ever put a rise above in Alaska, but apparently we're going to do that. Oh, gee, you're too good for this place. You're way too pretty. Rise above EU? Yeah, it could happen. Well, I literally just said this to my friend this morning at breakfast. Every Monday morning before the stream, I go for breakfast with a really good friend of mine. And I said, one of the crazy things that I've noticed over the years, they never take you. The Pickle, I'm the decision maker. I would take you in a heartbeat. The problem is you're doing amazing things and you need to stay doing amazing things. What I said to him this morning was one of the best things I love about this stream is it reminds me that although some might live in Ohio, some might live like Morgme in Alaska, some might live in the EU, wherever it might be, all over the world. You know what's crazy? What I haven't realized till this morning, and it just hit me. When I read chat, I don't hear any accents. I don't hear an English accent. You guys hear my accent, I guess. But when I read chat, I see people, and you could all be in the next room. It literally puts you all in the same box. You're all just people who are as broken as I am. And when I listen to your stories, when I listen to you tell me very often about what it is that you're doing and not doing and why you're doing this and why you're not doing that. And Mrs. H, thank you for being so candid. I love when you're in the stream. I mean, you're all awesome, but Mrs. H, thank you. It makes me realize that it doesn't matter where you live. That we all have the same needs and wants. And the first and foremost, what we all want is to be loved. And the only way we can ever get to a place where we get to either healing or true change in our lives is when we know that somebody is ready and willing to journey with us. And we joke all the time about, I make a living or I make money, whatever, playing video games. Understand, and this is why, Pickle, I don't know if you remember this conversation you and I had. It was a while ago. It was when I was setting my other facility up. And we were kind of chatting back and forth in the live stream there, or the live feed that we had. And I said, one day you'll know you've made it when your chat talks amongst themselves and almost completely ignores you as the streamer. And whenever I go into a stream, whether it's Andy's or OG's or whatever, I always watch chat. And I know, it makes me, now I want to smile. Just think about it. I know you're going to do it when your chat takes over. I know you're going to be successful when. That's because relationships have started, and they're not superficial. I believe wholeheartedly that when I'm in OG's stream and Morgme comes in, that I believe she is genuinely excited to see me come into the stream. Or she's genuinely excited to see any number of the people that come into the stream. Or Or just think about your people that come into your, right? And I don't use that term lightly, friends. You know, it's not surprising to me when someone comes into chat and you all say, "Hey fam, what's up?" Because the idea there is you've begun to identify with each other in a way that is different. It is starting to resemble true love in the sense that you're willing to say and do things for each other that you would not do for anybody else. It's indicative of the depth of your relationship. And Pickle, you're doing it to a T with the whole letter thing and all that kind of stuff. That is beyond what anybody else is doing. Yeah, so you try and send gifts and messages and letters. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because the problem with society in this format, and as much as I'm using this format, is we've lost the personal touch. You know, we're no longer we're craving true love. Depth of social interaction where you hear me and you respond in a way I'm currently not getting elsewhere. Right? It's not easy what you're all trying to. Those of you who stream, and I do this for fun. I mean, I'm not doing what you guys are doing by any stretch of the imagination. But remember, all of you who stream, what you're trying to achieve is not entertainment. What you're trying to achieve is community. And when you achieve community, something where people feel a part, that's when you've made it. As Morgan just said, when people know you care, that's when the climb happens. There is a point where just popularity takes over and suddenly you're the cool, trendy thing. But the initial success, the 0 to 100, the 0 to 500, the 0 to 1,000 happens through intentionality. And intentionality does not mean I'm going to show up every day at 1 o'clock and play this video game. Yes, that's intentional. But I'm talking about the relationship. When people feel connected to you, when you call them out by name, right? So a lot of people start streaming. Like I started streaming not because I wanted to have 1,000 followers and, you know, become the next ninja or I don't know, one of those big goofy guys. Just because I wanted to practice my craft. I wanted to, by talking about this regularly, it affirms in my mind, and you guys help clarify the things that I'm thinking and correcting me on occasion, which is always helpful. Yeah, I mean, Miss H, I mean, focusing on the content of your stream rather than the look of your stream. I mean, that's just, if people are ragging on you for that, I mean, that's just, come on now. You're still hanging for that cool kid. And there's nothing wrong, again, nothing wrong with that. But notice the transition. Notice what your people say and play on it. I don't play on it. I don't mean it in a negative way, but respond to it. Understand what's being said. Recognize it. There's a phrase. Oh, I was just thinking it the other day. It's the idea that. Oh, I'm gonna lose it. I'm getting old, guys, and remembering stuff is getting harder. I watching Miss H talk about undercooked fish. I'm thinking maybe I should start taking fish oil or something. Help me with this whole memory thing. Even my wife is like, dude, your memory's getting bad. Oh, what? Oh, I can't remember. It'll come to me later. Probably about 10 minutes after I'm off stream. Take your fish. That stuff's expensive. I looked at it. It's like $30. It would be like $50 or $60 a month. He send me some raw fish if I want. I'm sure you could. That's funny. Miss H, did I send you stickers? Did you get them yet? Oh, yeah? A vitamin company. Ooh. I can just imagine the smell of that place. Blech. Oh, okay. Make sure you let me know when you get them. I want to know I typed the address properly. I didn't type it, I wrote it. But so funny. I wrote all these letters. I sent all these letters with the stickers out to people. And then I realized after I did it that I totally missed my OG Pickle moment. I should have written letters. I was in such a panic rush to get the stinking stickers out to everybody. I completely blew it and didn't personalize them. I'm such a dude. He ruined many. I'm sure he did. I tell you, I've worked in manufacturing and warehousing for years, and you know me very well, my friend. I only write in capitals, as a matter of fact. I, on occasion, force myself to write in cursive, but I completely write in capitals, for sure. Awesome, Miss H. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, Shimon. Definitely. Just make sure you don't post it publicly. Just whisper or DM me, whatever the case is. I'll happily, anybody that wants them, I'll get them out to you. Yeah, but I'm telling you right now, the hardest thing for people to rationalize and to understand is the difference between loving, and I'm going to use a term, so bear with me, loving thy neighbor and having true love for your neighbor. So, when a neighbor comes and knocks on your door and says, hey, can I borrow a dozen eggs? And you give them a dozen eggs, that's one thing. But when you notice your neighbor's house the yard hasn't been cut in months because of whatever reason, or you find out your neighbor lost his job or whatever the case is, there's a different response from you, because that's in North America. It is very abnormal in urban centers. I won't say rural, but definitely in urban centers, where we don't pay attention to our neighbor. 1234 Jamode Road. That'd be cool if you had that address, actually. Miss Sage wants to send you fish. Oh, it's too funny. That poor little fish, he died for nothing. Just so he could be undercooked and not enjoyed. Yeah, I don't know. This is a topic, I have to be honest with you, this is a topic that bugs the crap out of me. Because the tragedy of this idea of true love is very often we're too selfish. And we want to, but we don't follow through. We want to help each other. We want to give. And I think the cool thing is that very many of you who have either given bits or donated to the stream or who subscribe regularly, do so with the understanding that you're not giving to me, that you're helping, legitimately helping a kid, whether it be buying breakfast foods or whatever the case, going on field trips. You know? You don't get, I didn't say you don't give bits, but thank you very much for the 30 bits. Miss H, you are an inspiration, I can honestly say. I've watched your stream a few times, and you're always fun. You're always, what are bits? Mark, you've given me bits. You've given bits to the peoples. You know what the bitses are. Yeah, my mother-in-law actually lived on a street that had her married name on it, and that was because they lived on the farm was the subdivision that they lived in was built on the farm that her husband's father owned. I will, and you may, Mrs. H. Spam the bits. Yeah, I think from the standpoint of where do we go from here, the reality is that most often, stop with the bits, 50 bits at a time, will not get you anywhere. You're such a butthead. Thank you, Mrs. H. Can you hear Chaco laughing and saying thanks? What a great day. Short attention span. Thank you, Mrs. H. I'm kind of concerned you can't hear Chaco. And you lied. It's so weird. I don't understand why we can't. Because if I turn on my desktop, I get a weird echo. And I don't know how to turn it off. So if I do that, see that, hear the echo? Or does it echo? Echo. I don't know how to make it go away. Because if I do that, and then I do this, and then I do this.
Thanks, dude. Oh my god. What a great day.
So could you hear Chaco that time? But you also have an echo with me. Yes, Andy. I suspect that is the case. And I know not how to alleviate said case. Because it used to work fine. I don't know what changed. So yeah, that's my point. So I'm trying to figure out. So if I leave that. Yeah. So I was just trying to flip-flop between desktop audio and mic. I think I need an expert. I'm not the expert. Because like I said, it wasn't too long ago. Everything worked fine. I suspect it has something to do with my Toasty. He actually helped me the other day with something too. I think, Andy, you were on stream with me when he did it. I believe. I wonder. I have like background, rise above, mic 1. I'm looking at all my Streamlabs OBS stuff. I wonder. Can you hear? Test, test, test. Yeah. Okay. Is there an echo? Check, check, check. Echo. Echo, echo. Eric, somebody save me. Audio input. Echo, echo, echo. Check, check. Echo still? Check, check, check. Echo is smaller? Well, that's fancy. Look at us. Look at us diagnosing on stream a mic problem. Isn't this fantastic? With a cool echo effect. Check. 1, 2. Check, check. Echo is smaller. So, anyways, I'm going to tell. I hate this. I'm getting off topic. I'm shutting that off. I'll figure it out off stream. So then, the logical question, besides the fact that I owe Miss H a huge thank you for all the bits. How do we then work at demonstrating true love in the context outside of, particularly, our family? How do we get to a point where we can be it's always a fun spam. I threw all my bits at somebody this weekend. I forget who it was. How do we get to a point where, you know, we're not just throwing food at somebody in passing? How do we get to a point? Because what fundamentally has to change? The idea of where do we go from here? Oh, welcome back, Evan. A little back and forth. And if I didn't say it yet, Best Buy, thank you for the stream. Where do we go from here? How do we then take the idea or the knowledge that if we we could soundbite them because there's a thank you there, definitely. How do we take the knowledge that, okay, I want to help. You all have demonstrated at some level that you volunteer your time or that you want to give, whether it's helping with coats in the wintertime, whether it's food pantries, whether it's church, whatever it is that you do, with the knowledge that that is the starting point. Does that make sense? That feeding somebody should not be our end goal. Yeah, I should actually throw it on my stream deck. You know, that giving somebody a sandwich at Christmas time or on Thanksgiving. Miss H, do you guys have Thanksgiving or something like that in England? In the EU? Give him a half-cooked fish. Well, and it's not even that, though. I mean, I think it goes deeper than that because that's a great phrase and it has its merit. Oh, you guys don't have? I guess you wouldn't, eh? Hey, welcome back, Nappy. One more month till our Twitch, baby. Thanks for popping in, man. Thanks for the resub. Appreciate it. That's funny. 8 months. 1 month till the Twitch baby's born. Thanks. Thanks, Nappy. Appreciate you, buddy. Did you stream this weekend, man? I looked 3 or 4 times for you. I couldn't find you. I didn't know if you were out of town or working on stoof. I just missed it. But if we know that what we're doing is, how do you say it? It's not permanent. It's not producing the fruit that I think that we desire when we give somebody that sandwich originally. Because when you give them the sandwich, I believe that your desire is for them to... sorry, I missed it. I looked a couple different times. I must have just looked the wrong time. Because obviously our desire is to help each other, because that's why we're out giving out sandwiches in the first place. That's why we're giving coats out in the first place. Right? But I don't think that we think about it long enough. We miss opportunities because we're being short-sighted, I think. Because we love our neighbor, but we don't necessarily have true love for our neighbor. And if we had true love, it would bring about a different experience. If it helps, I experienced something just Friday. So I worked on graphics for a lot of people. What? Explain. Do tell. No, Nappy. Nobody has used the word unconditional yet. Please, do elaborate. No, you're the first one. And then I'll tell you my unconditional true love story. It's fantastic. Oh, awesome. I keep thinking about getting one of those fancy dancy graphics tablets. Because I always want to, like, on my dual screen, like if I did this, and what can I pull up? This. And then I did this. I'd love to do this and have like the other screen that currently has NHL.tv. I'm Canadian, get over it. I'd love to have a graphics tablet because then I could do like notes. You guys could actually, I could put stuff on there. I don't know if that's an idea and I should go with it or what. But Mrs. H, that's the thing. So they understood that giving you the graphics tablet was one step further. It gave you the opportunity to then do the next thing, which is what you need. That's the difference. Let me go back to my other live stream. Right? It gives you the ability, as you said, to now earn more resources, to do more things. Much like the undercover boss did. He didn't just buy her a house. He then gave her an appropriate job. 170 pounds. Wow, that's like 240 American-ish? Yeah, I completely agree. That is a lot. But it puts you in a spot where you now can do things you couldn't do before. And that's the difference. So, again, by feeding somebody, you take care of the moment, but you don't enable the next step. By giving somebody a job, you enable them to now do the next step themselves. And that gives them back their dignity. Remember that thing we were talking about before? It's not about just giving somebody a sandwich. It's about giving them back their dignity. Rise Above exists not to just help a kid get his classes done, but to get his butt back to school so that he can keep his dignity, that he can recover from whatever it is that happened that brought him here in the first place. We oversimplify things. True love, Nappy, I think that you are getting at this as well. Goes deeper. I think that true love being unconditional means you do not love expecting anything back. Just love the person with all of your perceived flaws and flaws. For that reason. Bye, Evan. Thanks for stopping in, bud. You can always ask weird questions. We're weird people. We get weird questions. So Nappy, the unconditional love. My grandmother in my Portuguese family was the only woman I knew who loved unconditionally. My whole life. She, in every situation, always showed up when she said she would. Always came with more than she said she was coming with. And never let what I did yesterday get in the way of anything that she had planned for me. She truly loved me and my family unconditionally. She was awesome. Loved her to death. And I did. She passed away about 2.5 years ago. One of the biggest losses of my life, by far. Can you ask a weird question? Have you ever helped a kid that had a past similar to mine? Short answer to that, Mrs. H, is yes. Daily. The tragedies that walk through my door, just speaking honestly and boldly, every day, would blow most people's mind. I suspect probably not yours, but most. Right? Nappy. Thanks, buddy. That is an example of unconditional love, and I thank you for that. And that actually I think means I've got to give a Dono Cam presentation. Let's see, who'd you give gifted subs to? Mrs. H got a gifted sub. Evan Starr. Oh, and he just left. That's too bad. You want cheese in my cheeseburger? If anyone missed him, he was here last week. Nick Rush. Nick Rush is my area manager here at Rise Above. He got a sub, which is awesome. And Mr. Potato Chip. Thank you, Nappy, for... Oh, Evan, you are still here. Awesome. All got gifted subs. Thank you very much. And I guess I will do... I will do the Dono Cam. How many push-ups is this worth, chat? How many push-ups I'm doing? Mrs. H, when I come back from my Dono Cam here, I'll answer that question for you. 3 per sub. So what's that? Only that's 15? We'll go 25. We'll do 25 push-ups.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. It's time!
Can I do 25? Andy, you can throw a 1. You can throw a 1 in front of that bad boy. 125. Yeah, push-ups are one of those exercises that are super easy for me. Okay. So, Mrs. H, how can someone overseas help you guys out? Great question. Oh yeah, you should see my studio. You know, obviously, what you guys are already doing with the donations, with the bits, with the subscriptions. Pardon me. That all helps. Goes directly to Rise Above, Doesn't come to me. The PayPal account associated with this is not mine. So I don't see this stuff. I think it's important that you guys know when we have these conversations that it does two things. So, well, it does more than that. The two in this conversation, it does two things. One, it creates awareness just by you guys being here and saying to others, "Hey, wow, this stream that Neil does, whatever the case is, it's cool, it's informative, whatever. It's challenging on some days." That's one thing. Second thing, obviously, and I talked about earlier, it's that whole iron sharpens iron thing. The fact that I get to talk about these things and you guys challenge me or push back maybe on some things I say keeps me sharp, makes me think about what I know, what I don't know. I'm a firm believer of you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't go about your life with curiosity, which is what this is an experiment. This is curiosity. This is me saying, hey, I wonder what would happen if. And every day you guys show me what would happen. Every Monday, you guys show me what would happen if I just show up and talk about these things. You know, will it engage will you guys engage the conversation? Will it change lives? Will it make me think more deeply about the kids that we work with? And the other thing you guys may or may not realize is that one day you guys might bump into somebody who can radically change our work. It could be an incidental conversation that you're having with somebody and you're just like, hey, they get talking about nonprofits or helping kids and you're like, hey, I know a group that does this. It's this guy called Neil. He does this thing called Rise Above. You should check him out sometime. And you never know, one of those people one day might be the person that fully funds what we do. The bulk of our funders come by accident. They come from people like you who say to others, hey, you got to check these guys out. This is pretty cool what they're doing. Nobody else is doing this work. You should just go pop a line and ask them a question about what they're doing, you know? You can do push-ups if someone pushes you back up from the floor. Yeah. Yeah, Andy, I bench 315 for reps, so moving this little body really isn't that hard. Yeah. Biggest thing for me is I get winded. My cardio sucks. So that's my biggest challenge. So yeah, Andy, you've never seen my studio. I'm gonna do really destructive things. Here, let me see if I can break my studio real quick, and I'm gonna show you around my undo all the things. See if you can. Yeah, so that's the one wall all soundproofed up. That's the door to come in. There's the cage, as we call it, right? Obviously, there's a green screen behind me. And then on the wall next to me is all more soundproofing and all that kind of stuff. So there's I got a bit of everything in my studio. It's I have to admit it's been a bit of a journey, a learning. All the stuff is there for it to be amazing. I just like to break it all the time. That's the problem. So, no, I have I have a whole 20 by 20 room dedicated. It's a studio with pretty high end equipment. So, like I said, Best Buy and AT&T have gifted us some pretty good capital to make this happen, as well as other donors in our community. So, Nappy, I think true love also means you can have tough conversations with the ones that you love. If you truly have their best interest at heart. Well, and this gets to what you said earlier, though, Nappy. True love is unconditional. So you're not, when you have so take addiction. Say my son had an addiction issue to alcohol or drugs or something. When I approach him about it and say, I'm concerned for your well-being, it isn't I'm not approaching him just because it's being disruptive in my house, because it makes me feel uncomfortable. The idea there is I'm approaching you about your drinking habit because I'm concerned for your health. I'm concerned that you're not going to be around for as long as you need to be around. That idea of I love you. I don't want you to be hurt. Right? But the conversation is going deeper, because then I'm saying to myself, but why are you drinking? What are you escaping? So you're having the tough conversations not because you want them to stop drinking, but because you want them to heal from whatever it is that's causing them to drink in the first place. That's the difference. So how does true love behave? The answer is with an inquisitive mind. Write that down. People are in the places they're in for a reason. Not necessarily a reason they chose, but a reason. Your job is to search out what that reason is and ruthlessly kill it. Mrs. H, I have a lot of communities that will maybe get involved. Seriously? Can we organize an appearance for you to come and chat on my stream sometime? I'll get some. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If I had known how bad my niece's addiction was, I could have stepped in and tried to help her with a lot. And Nappy, that is exactly what I'm talking about with this. Thank you for making that so clear. That is a perfect example of where probably everybody tried to treat symptoms as opposed to the real issue. And every day, we get kids that come in. What's up, Cheeseburger? We get kids that come in who everybody treats their behavior and nobody asks the question, are you okay? What is going on? Can I help you? Yeah, Mrs. H. Nappy, root cause is literally everything. You couldn't be more right. In this other book that I was talking about, The Jonathan Effect, I'll look real quick, see if I can find the quote. Bear with me for 2 seconds, folks. I'm going to look away. Look away. There is a quote that he makes in here that is spot on. I mean, it couldn't. It's exactly what we're saying here. Hang on. This might be it here. Hey, Cheeseburger, did you notice Nappy gifted you a sub? Oh, you did. Good. I was AFK, so I didn't notice. So, and hey, yeah, no problem, buddy. Welcome back. Hope the weather in Germany, right, is good. Give me a sec, guys. I gotta find this quote because it's perfect for what we're talking about. Man, I hope I can find it. If you could see this book, guys, literally I have like underlines and underlines and underlines of things because everything about this book is spot on to what we do at So here's something that ties into this. This isn't what I was looking for, but I'll keep looking here in a second. But it is indicative of what I'm talking about. It says, it talks about trust, and you hear me talk about trust all the time. And this is in regards to people who are looking for jobs in the workplace, and it has to do with this idea of lack of trust. So this person found that distrust on the part of job holders and the generally defensive job seekers, people because they're just like, you're judging me, got in the way. She said, low-skilled job seekers are frequently unable to use their friendships and acquaintances and family ties, what I would call their informal network of people to gain employment. That's why for us, so it's the same thing for, say, a homeless person who is unemployable. Very often their friendships aren't able to bridge those gaps. That's why for us, when we see someone who's homeless, just giving them a coat isn't valuable. What's really valuable to us is taking our networks, our ability. Right? So Rise Above is 4 pillars of relationship. One of those 4 pillars is sharing our relationships with others. So I know people that can employ people or help to employ people. So my responsibility is to, as often as possible, help people to gain employment. It's going to bug me if I don't find this. Oh, here it is. Here, I just found it. Sweet. In relationships with younger people, a Jonathan friend, again, the Jonathan effect, a Jonathan friend can serve as a proxy for bringing about forgiveness. This is one of the things Matthews does. So Matthews is one of the guys in the book here who works with kids. He says, quote unquote, when a kid comes to me for a discipline issue, listen now. This is the judgment thing Nappy was talking about. I don't talk to them about I don't talk to them much about the incident that just happened. He says, I ask them what's going on and how did they get there. But getting back to, I think it was Nappy that said, telling people the truth in love. He says, but I told, in speaking about kids, I told them that I tell them that adults in their lives have let them down. This is, again, the book saying this. But what happens now is their responsibility. So again, food bank. We'll go back to that. It's one thing to go to the food bank and say, okay, here's your sandwich. We've gotten to this place. I'm giving you help. I'm giving you the sandwich. But we're here. And if we agree that something has to change, what we're saying is it's officially your responsibility to affect that change. I'm going to walk with you lock and step to do the change, to get there. But, again, the fear of change, get back to next week, I'm going to be the first person in your army that's going to help you get there, and I'm going to help you build your coalition of people that are going to help you make it. You can't just give the sandwich. You have to be that first person or part of the army that they muster up to affect the change, to bring about the long-lasting positive things that we want. Shimon, so how do we do that with a younger kid who has a harder time talking about how they go there or got there and maybe even having a hard time realizing? So when you say younger kid, we talking like middle school or younger? Like 12 years younger? Shimon? Because there's more I can add to that. Elementary. Inspector Gadget, I'm going to come back to that in a second too. Yeah, elementary. So elementary is all about emotion in me. High school, late. Yeah, no problem, Miss H. Whisper me, please. High school and up, you can have a facts, FACTS, based conversation where you can say to that kid, look, if you don't do XYZ, the result is going to be ABC. And they're going to go, holy crap, didn't know that. Thank you for the information. Let's do that. With an elementary kid, it's all about emotion. And the important thing for you, Jamode, if this is someone that you're thinking of specifically, or if you're just asking a general question, the most important thing for that student, elementary, the emotion you're most going to want to combat is fear. They're responding out of fear. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have the controls. I'm not the authority figure. You understand? So if you're getting hostility from a kid, very often it's because they don't feel as though anybody else is in the room. Yeah, in a minute. Bring it now. So I got to sign a birthday card. Thank you. I'll sign it now. Give me 2 minutes. What do I want to say in a birthday card? Birthday cards. So what? Sorry, Shimon, I'm going to come back to that. But when somebody brings me a birthday card, I got to sign it. What do I say in a birthday card? This is so. Finish my statement, Neil. One of the things that we do for all of our former students, including our current students, is celebrate their birthdays, Christmases, all that kind of stuff. Remember, true love behaves a certain way. Just because you leave my site doesn't mean I stop thinking or talking about you. So, this is Maurice. Bless you, buddy. Miss you. Hope you have a great birthday. Mr. Fernandez. Awesome. Hang on 1 second. So there, that's indicative of thereabouts, yeah. Of what I'm talking about, right? This idea of follow through, relationship, depth. It isn't shallow. It continues, long lasting, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, Jimo, the primary thing that you're combating in an elementary and younger is fear. Your goal is to project to them that you are in control, that you are safe, that they are safe with you in the room. Thank you, Mrs. H. Because it's when they feel safe that suddenly elementary and younger normalize. Suddenly they start to act like little kids again instead of being defensive about everything. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's back up a few seconds here. Inspector Gadget, my town problem is 9/10 homelessness due to drug use. And again, so what they'll do, what your town will likely do, Inspector Gadget, is they will try and combat the homelessness by creating free or reduced housing, giving out clean needles, providing methadone, maybe even creating clinics. But nobody, and I guarantee you, Inspector Gadget, nobody's going to ask the question because it's not cool to ask this question. No one's going to ask the question, why are 9 out of 10 homeless people on drugs? Address that problem. You don't need a methadone clinic. You don't need homeless shelters for drug addicts. You don't need free and reduced housing. No one will address the root problem. They'll all address the symptoms. Oh, you need a coat? Here's a coat. You're hungry? Oh, okay, here's a sandwich. You need clean needles? Okay, here's some clean needles. I don't want you to get the flu. So here, I'll give you a free flu shot. Everybody misses the mark. I digress. Not everybody. Most. Because unfortunately, there's money to be made at this too. Right? So some people, because we treat thousands of drug addicts every year. We make sure they have clean needles and they have a place to sleep at night, and we do all these great things to ensure that they're fed, because you know what? These mothers that are hooked on crack, they're just not taking care of their kids. So we got to give them a nice warm place. Well, there's a reality. That's true. They do need all these things. They don't need clean needles. What they need is drug rehab. But no one's getting to the root cause. Why is that mother on drugs in the first place? Treat why she's on drugs. Don't keep her healthy enough so that she can just keep using drugs. Yeah, feed her, give her a house, all that, a place to live, all that stuff. But we're missing it. And again, I pray that Rise Above never gets to a point where we're just getting kids an education. And Nappy, it is kind of that thing. But the philosophy for me goes one step further. So the reality is that give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him to fish, he feeds himself for a lifetime. That's only the start of the story. It misses the true love element. That to me says I'm doing it so that I don't have to waste my time and listen to you complain about not having anything to eat anymore. The reality is I want to invest in you, and I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be unconditionally in love with you, so much so that I am going to do more than just teach you how to fish. I'm going to find out why in the world didn't you know how to fish in the first place? Because when that was written, everybody knew how to fish. If you didn't know how to fish, you were dead. Everybody knew how to hunt and fish and farm and do all that stuff. The real question is, why the heck didn't you know what everybody else knows? So Inspector Gadget, your town's number 1. Ask a couple questions. Who made it number 1? Where's the supply coming from? And why aren't we choking the hell out of that? And 2, the people that are the end users of the product, what are they trying to escape from? And why are we so quick to legalize things that, and again, I'm not for or against legalization. I'm not a political guy. I asked the question, why are we bringing in things that we know people use to escape reality? Good for you, Inspector. That's a hard thing to do, to come off of that stuff. My wife had surgery a year ago and was prescribed that type of a pain medication. And she just flat out refused to take it. She just threw it all in the, whatever that stuff you put in it, and dissolves it all and makes it unusable. Mrs. H, you run that house, eh? No, Mozilla, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, as Chaco says. Thanks, Mrs. H. Appreciate it. Yep, she just followed. We had 2 local doctors that got in debt. Yeah. And again, money is not the root of all evil, but I'm telling you, it's definitely a contributor. So again, you have to look at the contributing factors. It's never just I'm homeless because I'm homeless. It's never just I'm hungry because I'm hungry, right? Yeah, Luke. With respect, trust. So we talk about this idea when we talk about trust, Luke. I'm going to give you 2 things. And we've talked about this on stream before, but there's a lot of new people here, so I'll go through them both. The first is trust, obedience, challenge, change, and growth. I have a couple different ways of referring to it. One is called the coach effect, right? This idea that if you trust me enough to listen to me, I'm going to challenge you to do things you never thought were possible. And suddenly, if you start doing those things, you're going to start being able to do things you didn't think you could do. I can suddenly run 5 laps, or I can bench press 300 pounds. And what does that do? That causes growth in you, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And then what happens is when you go through that cycle, you're like, holy crap, I listened to you. I didn't think I could do that thing that you were pushing me to do. I did it. It was hard. But look, it's produced these results. So then what you do is it brings you back around full circle, where I go back to you and I say, hey, you know what? I listened to you that one time you said to do that thing. And it produced these results in me that I didn't think I could do. Can you show me something else? That relationship is indicative of true love. When you're able to take somebody on a journey through trust and obedience, that's where true change comes. That is the principles behind Rise Above and everything that we do. The second model that we use is a relationship model. There's 4 pillars, kind of like 4 pillars to a chair. We say without one of these pillars in place, the chair topples over, right? Nappy, thank you for gifting a sub. I just realized that, buddy. And to Nomazel, oh, welcome. You now have some emotes to play with. Welcome to the gym. No, that just means a couple things. That means you're part of the gym. That means, first and foremost, we don't skip leg day. So if we have any leg day emotes, we can show her what we don't do, and that is skip Thursdays, which is leg day. But welcome to the gym, Nomazella. Appreciate you. Thank you, Nappy. The 4 pillars of relationship are: first, relationships come first. No matter what else is going on, if you come into my chat and you're hurting, we're going to talk. If something's broken, we're going to try and fix it. Even my echo. Right? There is something to be said in the behavior of true love when I'm sitting on the couch and I'm playing with my phone, doing my thing, and my son comes downstairs and said, hey, Dad, something happened at school today. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's great. Oh, yeah, school? Yeah, I hope it was good. Did you pass the math test? No, Dad, something happened at school today. Oh, okay, cool. And if I'm too busy, no. Relationships come first. That means I take this and I go, what'd you just say? What happened? Yeah, Samsung Smart Man, I know. No, son, are you okay? What happened at school today? No, Henry, shut the TV off. You have my undivided attention. What's going on? The first thing we do is say, what's going on? Are you okay? Thanks for the follow, Luke. Appreciate that, buddy. I'm willing to stop everything to ensure that you are heard. Our relationship means more to me than anything else. Second thing of relationship. Relationships are meant to be shared. So Nappy, you're here. Prime example. How did I find Allie? Andy? From other people. I asked around. I asked some questions about certain things, and you said, hey, you got to go check out Andy. No problem, Luke. No problem. Yeah, just DM me whenever you can, buddy. Right? We share our relationships. Right? We get each other involved. So I have a kid that comes in and he has a particular need. I take the young lady that from a couple weeks ago. I can't remember if I shared this or not. Former student of ours. She texted my wife and said, Mrs. Fernandez, can you help me? I need a pair of glasses. We made a couple of phone calls. I know an eye doctor in town. Got her a free eye exam and got her glasses for $50. Eye exam included. That's what we're supposed. That makes sense. That is a young lady that knew that if she called us and asked, that we would give her the hand that she needed. Right? It's the same thing here. If somebody in this chat said something, and Mrs. H, you've done that. Luke's talking about it. And you say, hey, you know what? I think this is, I got to tell somebody about this. We share our relationships. We get each other involved in each other's business, not because we're nosy, because we want to help each other. Number 3, relationships differ. Listen to me now. I don't treat any of you the same. And I never will. I listen to you when you type. I listen to your typing, figure that out. But I read what you type. I get a good glimpse of your personality. I get a good understanding of your love language. It doesn't make any sense that I would treat you all the same. You're all different. You get to spam unconditionally. My job is to meet you individually where you're at. And again, I always bring up OG Pickle because he did this really well in the beginning. Right? Oh, Miss A, were you there when we did the whole love language personality thing? We got to do that again. We got to have another. I think Shimode, she was there when we did it. I can't remember if you were there or not. You were? Yeah, that was an awesome stream. I can't remember what yours was off the top of my head. So relationships come first. Share my relationships. Relationships differ depending on who's in front of me. Yeah, the personality test mode. We should do it again, maybe not next week, but the week after or so. We'll have one more thing I want to talk about next week. But maybe we'll bring somebody on, do an interview, and do the personality and love languages again, just to kind of refresh. And then the fourth one, and this is the one that nobody gets until I say it. The one that everybody knows but nobody can remember is that relationships, the fourth one is that relationships endure. You're not an evil person. The best way I can explain this, and schools do a horrible job with this. This is why Rise Above sends birthday cards and Christmas cards and everything else to students, even though they're not enrolled here. My daughter got married 3 years ago. When she got married, she moved out of my house. Does that mean I stopped talking to her? Remind me never to fall downstairs around you. Right? Just because she got married and moved out doesn't mean I stopped talking to her. She's my daughter. I love her to death. Why the heck would, just because she's not there, would I stop talking to her? Same with our students here. We pour into them so much. That it makes no sense. That's just because they graduate, or even if we kick them out, if something happens and we remove them, even those kids we send Christmas cards to and birthday cards and whatever else. We actively seek out those kids in relationship if they want to, because that's what you do. That's how you bring about true change. That's how you bring about a phone call that says, Mr. Fernandez, I need help. Yes, Mrs. H, that's correct. Relationships first. They differ based on who's in front of you. They endure. And I share them. Imperatives when it comes to our relationships with each other. If you pull any one of those out, it will fail. It will. Because you're not invested. You're not fully invested at that point. Well, what do you think? True love. It's not easily defined. It's not easily found. And it's very often very elusive. Very often know this. When it comes to true love, you're usually in control. If your true love is lost, ask deeper questions about why. Yeah, absolutely, Nappy. Guy, I'm an ordained minister. Nappy. I'm a card-carrying member. You can talk scripture anytime you want. But you're right, that's not normally the stream. I bring it up on occasion, though. But yeah, you can absolutely bring it up. And we'll actually close with that today, Nappy. My 2 hours are up. Y'all are getting sick of listening to me. Pretty sure you could be possessed. Hey, you never know. Start sprinkling Mrs. H with holy water. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very popular passage, Nappy. It's good. Welcome back, Luke. Yeah, and that's the essence of true love and unconditional love, right? This idea of being self-sacrificed, and the essence for the true love how does true love behave topic actually comes from the Good Samaritan story found in the Gospel of Luke. That's where that stemmed from today. That was my reading for last week. So you love Twitch. You don't trust it to work half the time. It's usually when it's broken, it's usually a button that I pushed. It's usually not Twitch's fault. So, but yeah, no, it's just it's hard sometimes, when you've got 14 bajillion different things on the go and all that kind of stuff. It's hard sometimes to stay focused and to do the things Twitch wants you to do. All right, thank you, Mrs. H. He does, Nappy. That is absolutely correct, brother. We're literally just talking about that. So, but thank you all for coming in and spending some of your very valuable time with me. Thank you to Luke for your follow, Nappy for gifting the 6 subs today, Nomazilla for the follow as well. Nappy, one more month, buddy. Yeah, no problem, Ali. We're checking out our 2 hours. Is up. Mrs. H, thank you for all the bits today. Appreciate it. Evan followed today. What else? OG resubbed there last week, I think. So I'm gonna kick you guys all over to Air Max. He's streaming at the moment. Thank you all. Don't forget to go to the gym this week. Today is arms and chest as usual on Mondays. And if you can hang around for a second, say hi to Air Max for me. Let them know that I said hi. Yeah, I've got to go teach a little half-hour class to our middle schoolers. So thanks, guys. You guys have a blessed day, and thanks for hanging out with me again. And don't forget, when somebody says, what hurts, ask why. Don't just put a Band-Aid on them. Please and thank you. Solve, thanks for hanging out today, buddy. Remember, ow means something is hurting somewhere. Look. The injury you see in front of you may not be the cause of the pain. Look deeper. Bless you all. Have a great day. Ciao for now.